I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, here with your weekly feeder and stocker cattle market summary for the week ending June the 15th. Your yearling feeder cattle sold mostly steady, up to $1 higher. Most of that dollar higher was seen in the Southern Plains direct market, as early in the week on Monday and Tuesday we saw some slight gains, and they did get some business done. Now all of that done before Wednesday's close, which was sharply lower on both cattle boards there, and before they sold the fed cattle market so much cheaper. Your calves sold steady to $3 lower. Almost all your calf trade right now is on plainer stuff, small lot sizes, maybe shipped in cattle if you're talking about down in the southern part of the Midwest. Just clean up sales, not any nice strings of calves moving right now, and nobody really needing any calves for that matter to turn them out. They've already bought everything that they're going to need. So the calf trade is really slow right now, especially on your lightweights. And down in the southeast there, you're not seeing as many orders for those types to go west, as it's starting to get hot and dusty, and you just know where to go with those calves right now. Any pastures that you had are already full of something else. So those little peewee calves weighing 450 and down, up to $10 lower in a lot of those southeastern markets this week. And like I said earlier, those yearling markets, the sharply lower board that closed on Wednesday with the live cattle down about 245 and the feeder contracts down even more than that, that did not show up on this week's trade, so we can expect that pressure next week in our big early week sales. Also, your lower fat cattle market was not expressed in this week's market, so that will be seen early next week. And the fat cattle market really took it on the chin this past week, as we had that sharply lower board on Wednesday for no apparent reason, and we started to see some early sales in Kansas, starting to drop those cattle $3 lower at 119. They lost $3, and a lot of people said they did it to get the basis. The basis was only $2, and they lost $3 a market position. Texas pretty much forced into taking that $1.19 on Thursday. Nebraska and Iowa did not get along any better than that. They sold $4 to $5 lower, from 118 to 119.50, and most all the dress sales of any size were at 191. But it's kind of a tough week there on those markets, and your out front yearling sales, like I'm saying, for maybe August delivery, September delivery, late July delivery, coming off the double stock pastures there. They are selling a wee bit higher than what our current delivery and those yearlings that are moving through the live sales right now are, but that premium is narrowing every week just a little bit more and more. And if we don't get any rain, significant rain in the corn belt, and start to bolster this corn crop a little bit, then we're not going to see that wild market that a lot of people have been expecting for these yearlings late this summer, because they're not going to see the relief in feed costs, and people are going to start moving more yearlings off quicker, and then that whole premium there on those is just going to evaporate if we don't see some rain. Now luckily we have started to see that dry nudge that we've been in ever since they got the corn crop in. We're starting to see some rain clouds develop now in the evenings in especially the southern part of the corn belt, where we haven't seen that. And a lot of Nebraska's dry. The biggest part of central to southern Iowa is dry, and going east from there in the eastern corn belt, a lot of that's dry too. But I'm not completely familiar with the Nino patterns. It seems like every year it's one or the other, it's having an effect, but somehow or another we are starting to see a break in those dry conditions. And every evening or every other, we are starting to see some storms pop up, and it is giving a lot of areas some relief, real spotty. But you could definitely notice this week that your farmer feeders in Iowa and Nebraska were not quite as wild. They did not issue quite as many orders as they have in the last several weeks on yearlings to keep for themselves, because they did come out early pretty aggressive, those farmer feeders trying to buy some cattle. That said, at Kearney, Nebraska, Huss Platte Valley auction there on Wednesday, they had over 450 head of top quality steers that weighed from 9 to 9 1/4. I think the average 9.17 there, sell with an average price of $153.20. And if you think about that, those cattle are going to have to back up $32 in price and put on a performance when they're already weighing over 9 going into the heat of the summer. So, got a tall order there, and most of the markets are not near that wild, and a lot of places, a lot more reserved this week. But check out our regional weighted averages this week in the north central states on light volume. 8 to 900 pound steers this week, average 149.61 compared to 152.50 last week. So we did see on the whole range of the north central states there, the market slipping back a little bit on the average. And a year ago, 8 to 900 pound steer in the north central states, 126.14. Down the south central states, 7 to 800 pound steer cost you 154.41 this week compared to 153.91 last week and 126.98 a year ago. Down in the southeast, a 4 to 500 pound steer cost you 174.37 this week compared to 178.27 last week and $120.44 a year ago. That wraps up your markets for this week. Check out our website for more market news information at marketnews.usda.gov. And from the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.